what's up guys? Zach Calhoun here, head editor of PitchersWithNoCheese.com. My story is one where I went from 83 miles an hour in high school as a pitcher, trained, researched, and worked really hard, and learned the appropriate systems and avenues to be able to throw 95 in college. 95 miles per hour is a big deal. It's very hard to achieve that, but I truly believe that through the training I'm going to show you in this free video series, I'm going to help you get there. Whether you take all of it as truth and use it all, apply it all, or whether you just take a couple things and it really helps you, my goal with this video training series is to help and educate you so you can walk away with something of value that changes your life. If I can help one person out there be better and achieve their goals, then all this is worth it. So I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're watching this video, and I'm happy you're somebody who wants to be better and wants to do whatever it takes to achieve your goals. So today, we're going to talk about some mistakes pitchers make in their training and how it holds back their fastball. So what I want you to do is take some notes, learn as much as you possibly can, apply these things, ask your friends, talk to them, share this video with them too, and share this free video series, and make sure that you're watching your email inbox for me sending you the next free training video series after this one. But for now, we're going to get into the mistakes pitchers make that holds back their training. So do me a favor and walk with me. I'm going to go actually behind my computer and make it a little bit easier for us to communicate. Okay guys, here we are behind my computer. This first video training series is entitled The 7 Mistakes Pitchers Make When Strength Training. So, what strength training can actually hurt your pitcher velocity? This is the stuff you don't want to do. So, don't be that guy that works really hard and tries really hard and does the wrong things that end up slowing down your pitcher velocity. That's the worst case scenario. To have the work ethic, to do all the right things. To try to do all the right things, but it actually hurts you and slows you down. So let's dig into them right away. Here we go. All right, mistake number 1, overhead lifts, also called military press. When it comes to being a baseball pitcher who's trying to gain velocity, whatever it means, some moves may look like and feel like and seem like they're going to help you, but really they just slow down your fastball. Here's an example. In this picture, we see a military press. Guy's got 2 dumbbells. He's pushing them over his head. And in this move, he's using his triceps. He's using his shoulders, right? You would think this must help a little bit, right? This must help me as a pitcher. Well, the truth is, it doesn't. First off, military press puts a lot of strain on your rotator cuff. And this is unnecessary strain because you're already, if you're involved in the throwing program at all, you've already probably thrown a lot that day and done a lot of good functional rotating internal and external motions with your rotator cuff. So to apply overhead pressure like this right on your shoulder only does bad damage and doesn't really help you. Number 2 is when you develop these kind of muscles over your head like this, it actually can limit your rotator cuff range of motion. So what's that mean? Well, whenever you are externally rotating your shoulder backwards in the fully cocked position, whenever your arm is fully loose and you're throwing, it takes a lot of range of motion to accomplish that movement. That's why it takes you so long to get warmed up. It takes you you throw short, you throw a little bit longer, throw a little bit longer. That's because your rotator cuff is having to get loose externally. That's the main part of your shoulder that has to get loose so you can stay healthy and not get hurt. Well, if you develop muscles that can hinder that in any way, then your ability to externally rotate on the pitcher's mound or throwing in general is going to really not be very good. So you can have the strongest legs, core, most flexibility, be super explosive, but if you have a weak point in your kinetic chain, if your shoulder's too tight, it doesn't matter how strong you are, you're just not going to throw very fast. This is why powerlifters or like offensive linemen just can't throw a baseball very well. It's a lot of times just range of motion in their shoulder. And those kind of mistakes come from moves like military press or overhead press. Even at an angle in front of you, I'm not a big fan of that either. No handstands, no upside down handstands. Avoid whatever you can that's overhead. So like the clean and jerk, like the clean is fine, but the jerk portion of it, you don't need it. Also, when it comes to snatch, you don't need to do it either. All these moves just really beat you up, and it's not very functional as a pitcher. So you want to always be functional. So avoid overhead lifts. Okay. Mistake number 2, no fast twitch muscle training. Okay. If you read Fastball Muscle, the book I wrote, the short little ebook I wrote, it talks about this a lot, actually. How, as a pitcher, it's easy to go to the weight room, or really be any athlete, and to go develop huge, strong muscles in certain areas, but never actually promote fast twitch muscle training. So, what's that mean? Well, there's still plenty of importance when it comes to building foundational strength. I've discussed that before, but if you don't actually create explosive movements with resistance while you're training, you're going to have trouble being explosive on the mound. And there's certain parts of your body that need to be explosive. Your back leg needs to be able to rotate quickly. That means your glutes, your hips need to be able to rotate fast, right? You have to have a core that's explosive. So here's a quick couple pictures of just one move you can use today. It's called a med ball punch. Everyone's called med ball twisting punch. All you do is you hold the ball just below your chest, you rock backwards and rotate your body as fast as you possibly can, exploding forward. I'm throwing to the left side of the screen here. And I'm just using med ball for demonstration. The heavier the better, but you want to be fast. So even if you have the strongest core, in the neighborhood, if you're not really moving quickly, it's not going to be this. It's not going to translate into the baseball, because your baseball is 5 ounces, right? So you want all that strength to turn into fast twitch moving muscle that goes into the baseball. So foundational strength plus fast twitch muscle fiber training is a really, really good thing. So avoid mistake number 2, which is not doing any of this fast twitch training, which this is a great example. This is a great functional move. You can do it today. Go find your med ball, go throw it around outside. Mistake number 3, some guys do not lift at all, or they're afraid to get too bulky, which, man, I understand this, right? Offensive linemen, they can't throw. Big, bulky guys, they can't throw very hard. I'm sure you have guys on your team right now who are getting pretty strong and pretty stacked, but they just can't really throw very hard. Like, man, this guy's, he's not loose enough. And actually in the 80s, that was the school of thought. Don't get too bulky. Don't lift. Don't do those things. Well, there's a lot of problems with that. And the first one is Nolan Ryan. He, threw 4 miles an hour or some crazy number as a starter. He's quoted as saying that he used to sneak into the weight room whenever he could, and he noticed that the more he lifted, the more stamina he had on the pitcher's mound, and the longer he lasted, the better he felt. So he actually lifted more and more throughout his career. You can actually find an article, if you just Google it, you can find Nolan Ryan talking about weight training, how important it is. Now, here's a guy who knew how to do it correctly and not get bulky per se. I mean, you can actually get big and strong, but bulky is more what that more is saying is, I'm afraid to not be flexible and loose and not be able to crack the width of my arm. So that's an appropriate fear, and you should be careful and not try to limit your range of motion in your shoulder. But one way you're not going to do that is by what? Not overhead lifting, right? So don't assume that just by lifting you get too bulky and you lose that whip motion. Man, the more I squat, the more flexibility I have in my hips and in my ankles and in my lower half. So you just got to learn how to stretch appropriately and to mold and craft your body like a pitcher instead of like a offensive lineman. So avoid this mistake. Don't assume lifting slows you down. Actually, it's going to help you a lot. I'm a huge proponent of lifting. So mistake number 4. A lot of guys don't stretch after they work out. So this all kind of intertwines within each other here. But if you lift, if you work out, even when you throw, a lot, you create like muscle damage, right? And sometimes it's small muscle damage. Every once in a while, it's a lot of muscle damage. Depends on what you're doing and how much movements you're doing, but how much weight you're using, etc. And when that happens, it creates this muscle tightness, right? Well, that's usually soreness from just your muscle responding and wanting to repair. Well, you don't want to constantly have tight muscles. You want to lengthen them, right? So the best way to do that is to have a static stretching routine and taking advantage of it after you work out. So this is the best time to push for range of motions after you work out. Here's a quick picture, a quick example of me just doing a back twist here with my knee over my leg. And I'm twisting my body. It kind of stretches my lower half, my lower back, excuse me, and also just kind of helps my body twist, right? This move is so much easier to accomplish when my body's fully warmed up after a workout. It's much harder before. It takes longer, and you feel more aches and pains before, like, ugh, you're sore. But after you work out is the primary time to push for flexibility. So a lot of guys don't do this, and all they do is it just takes them longer to recover from their workouts. So they have to wait longer in between their lifts and training. So that's why they're slower. It's small stuff like this, cumulatively over time, that helps some guys keep training and keep pushing and keep going and maintaining flexibility and health. And other guys, they're held back and they can't figure out why these other guys are passing them up. It's just small stuff like stretching for a while, like a consistent 10 to 15 minute routine every time after you lift, even after you throw, it is a good time to do it too. Just getting that flexibility and lengthening those damaged muscles. So mistake number 5, which is one I have all the time get in trouble about, is not eating enough calories. So a lot of guys want to have six packs. And listen, I get that, okay? I want to have six pack too. And I train for it sometimes too. But here's the deal. As an elite athlete, you are going to be training three times a day, twice a day at least, throwing, lifting, running, doing all these different things. You got to eat a ton of food, man. And I'm showing a picture of me and some supplements here because I'm a huge proponent of whey protein and even dextrose, corn sugar for athletes, glutamine powder is great post-workout, flaxseed oils in there, so is creatine. These are all like natural, NCAA legal stuff. It's not anything crazy. But having whey protein around the house is so vital because whenever you get hungry and there's nothing around, you got to have some type of calorie intake. Your body's telling you, hey, I need more protein. I need more amino acids. We've been training hard. I need building blocks to build onto this muscle. Well, if you ain't feeding it, it's going to find it somewhere. And guess where protein is? If your body needs protein, guess where it stores protein the most, right? Your muscles. So it's just going to go get it from your muscles, and you're not going to be able to gain from the trainings you've been working so hard for. This is one of those like secret things that the elite athletes, they go out, they spend the money, they understand, hey, I need supplements, I need food, I need lots of food. These are the guys who are going to be the best. You got to be a high-calorie food crusher. You just got to be, man. And I'm not saying you're going to get fat or huge. What I'm saying is you're just going to probably maintain it because you're training so hard. And you also notice your recovery is faster. And just having enough calories is so important. You have to make sure you do this. Don't be that guy. Don't think you have to be some skinny pitcher. You're just not going to gain much velocity that way. So avoid mistake number 5 of not eating enough calories. Okay, number 6, too much distance running. Oh man, this one's a big one for me. In college, I'm sure some of y'all heard the story where I just was horrible at distance running. Just horrible at it. Like when it came to every Friday we would run distance, and it was a long 3 mile, 4 mile run. Some guys ran all the time. They ran distance for a long, long way. They really appreciated it. They wanted to do more of it, so they did extra, whatever. Man, all the guys that were at the very front of the pack when it came to distance running, they weren't that explosive and that strong on the field. Your goal is to be strong on the field. Your goal is not to be a good distance runner. I know it's an old school of thought. Hey, run a bunch. It helps your stamina on the mound. Man, I would just say that's probably not even true. Check out these two guys in this picture. It's a funny, total opposite comparison, right? It's two Olympians. One's a distance runner, and one's a sprinter. If we gave these guys a baseball, let's just, use this data point here. And who would you guess throws harder? It ain't the guy on the left. His muscles are so beat up from all the slow twitch training he's been doing. Of course, he's going to be skinny like that. I'm sorry, excuse me. So, like, that's just what happens. Like, your body, if you want to train explosively, if you want to be an explosive athlete, don't do non-explosive activities for 30, 40 minutes. I mean, don't do that. It's just not smart. You can gain stamina without running and tapping your feet in the floor back and forth. It's just not a functional way to train. I didn't know this in college. I couldn't figure out why I was always in the back. I tried to work my distance. Turns out the better I got at distance running, the worse I was at pitching. It's just the way it is. I was always a heavy squatter. I never stopped heavy squatting. And it's because I heavy squatted is why I suck so bad at running. It's the opposite thing, the opposite movements. And guess what? I was always one of the harder throwers on the team. So don't run distance too much. If you're going to run it, do it once a week. And I do it every once in a while. I am a proponent of a kind of a recovery run where you just get your blood flowing. I mean, blood is the primary transporter of nutrients and recovery tools in your body. It's super important. So you need blood to flow. So don't just sit around because Zach said don't run, but don't become a marathon runner. There's a difference. So yeah, it's a huge mistake, and it's going to help a lot of people just by stopping running so much. Just lift more, run less. Do circuits, whatever it takes. Just stop. Get off the track. Mistake number 7, not having a consistent warm-up and cool-down routine. So here's a picture of me stretching after a workout. I've always actually really sucked at flexibility, but I fought for it because I knew how important it was. So you must do the same thing. You must really understand that cooling down with stretching is important, but also equally important is having a consistent routine that you get loose with before you work out. Like, and whenever it's a lift and you're cold, you should do a full dynamic routine before you lift, and especially before you throw. And it should be the same thing every single time. You should basically get each part that you're going to use, each muscle group you're going to use, warmed up, those nerves firing, the blood flowing, and then whenever you go to throw and you go to perform, there's no surprises or no weird soreness. You've already worked it all out, and you're consistent every single time. So if you decide to try something new and it kind of aches and pains somewhere, you'll know why and where it comes from. Don't just have a random routine to get warmed up. That's not what big time athletes do. If you want to play 160 games, you better be consistent. Okay, a couple bonus mistakes. Some stuff that I've observed and I know from experience. Copying, I call them a bonus mistake number 1. Copying others' pitching mechanics. I have here a snowflake. Here's why. You are a snowflake, bro. You are very unique. You are like nobody else. To watch videos and try to copy everyone's mechanics all the time is only going to screw your head up and slow you down. You need to simplify things. If you want to be elite, you must be yourself. I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. Man, train your butt off, and guess what? You'll be able to accomplish good mechanics. If you're strong and functionally strong, you're not going to have issues being getting out front or finishing well or staying close and all these. I mean, these are all good mechanical things. But man, you can't try to copy other guys' arm angles and arm actions and all this stuff. Just train the right way and be yourself. Your mechanics will come naturally, and one day it'll just click. That's how it works. So I have the snowflake there. You are unique. You are special. That's okay. It's good. It's the way God made you. Don't try to fight that. Okay, and the next bonus mistake, which most guys do, this happens across the board, oh my gosh. They don't track the amount of weight they've used and the amount of reps they have accomplished. Guys, listen to me. I'm showing a bar graph there for this reason. If you don't write down what you did last week, you're going to forget and you're not going to progress. Here's what I mean, and I'll give you a quick story. I was squatting yesterday. I was squatting, and I'm still a huge proponent of squatting even after I've finished my career. And I checked my board of what I wrote down last week, and I was like, man, I'm not sure if I can do this much weight, yada, yada, yada. I went to the board like, oh, last week I already did it. I already lifted this much weight. So I can already do it. So I loaded it up and I did it. And I was like, oh, you know what? I can do it. And I realized, like, in that moment, if I didn't have that written down, if I wasn't fully tracking that, I would have lifted less weight and I would have got better at a slower rate. This is so important for you as an athlete. If you do not track what you're doing, I'm talking like vehemently, crazily, super OCD, track what you're doing, then you're not going to progress fast because you're going to get uncomfortable and you're going to stop. That's what's going to happen. That's it. You are going to think that you can't keep going or can't lift heavier or can't do a couple extra reps because you haven't tracked it. And man, this seems so silly because I don't want to track stuff. I'll feel it out, whatever. Listen, I get that. But if you don't track your weights you use and the amount of reps, amount of sets, and your competition does, and your homeboy over here does, he's gonna know exactly where he stands and how fast he's progressing, and how much, and if he made a mistake or if he needs to do something different or change it up, he'll know. Meanwhile, you're guessing, bro. If you guess, you're screwed. I just want you to know, like, you're not gonna feel fast. You're just not. And most guys are not just physically lazy, they're just mentally lazy. They're just not gritty enough. They don't care enough to track everything they're doing by writing it down. Dude, you have to track it. You have to. It's not really an option. So if you're watching this and you want to throw faster and you want to strength train faster, track everything you're doing, as in write everything down, sets, reps, times, everything. And then you could see yourself progress. This is... I can't even, I'm about to, lose it over here. You have to do it, okay? That's my last mistake for today. Okay, so, because there's a lot more coming, I don't want to have too much per video. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to just hold off right now, cut this video off and finish up. If this is your first video to watch, and you're not really sure where you're at, but you somehow ended up here, one of your buddies sent you a link or whatever, the best way to get the next free training video in the series is to put your email below. I'll send you the next videos when they're coming out. It's going to take a few days, but you're going to have to track. I'm so sorry. You're going to have to watch your inbox and look for me to come in your inbox with those new videos. So just do me a favor, and if you haven't already done it, put your email on this email chain and it will come to you soon. If you have any questions, and I sent you an email about this, you can reply to that email with any questions you have, and I'll do my very best to reply to them. It's super important. If you're not on this email chain, you need to get on it. So put your email in the box below. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see all you guys soon.